It's, you're the speaker.
Oh, someone's actually like physically here.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh, great. All right.
Did she bring in the second one just now?
No,
Slip? Oh,
no.
okay.
This is what I have.
Maybe he doesn't hold on to it.
We're seeing a single person on the screen. Can we see the whole group?
I think it's coming from your end.
Oh, no, yes.
Okay. If you're ready, let's begin. On to order this meeting with the Montara Water and Sanitary District Board of Directors. It's May 1st, 2025. It is 7:33 p.m. Could we have a roll call vote, please? Roll call.
Director Becker here, Director Young,
Here.
Director Pruitt,
Here.
Director Slater Carter, and Director Softy here.
Well, thank you. So for my presentation statement tonight, it's a more somber statement than usual. Recently, a member of our community passed away, Lisa Ketchum, and Lisa was a tireless member of the community, working for building up the community, especially her community at Pillar Ridge, and working very hard to get.
And there's some use.
Make the hallway sign.
I can manage that. So Lisa was a tireless worker to build community and to get the people at Pillar Ridge a fair shake and to help us all realize that Pillar Ridge, even though it's kind of off in the corner of the district, it's hundreds of people who are part of Montara Water and Sanitary District and our community. And I was looking back through my notes. I had an email from her on community meetings where she was being an effective advocate. From 2010, she was talking to us here at the district about water rates and parks, highway traffic and safety, Plan Princeton, Bigway, other large developments, of campus grass, the election process, neighborhood commercial zoning, green waste, and the compost parks that are at Pillar Ridge. And of course, the water system at Pillar Ridge. She was involved from the earliest days in her discussions around what to do there that ultimately led to this district taking on the responsibility for that water system. So everything she did was about community and the people that make it up and bringing attention to the needs, sometimes the very special needs of people who often go unregarded. So she passed away just recently, and I would like to have a minute of silence in her honor. So if we could just do that now. We could count on, if it needed to be said, we could count on Lisa saying it. And if it was hard to say, we could count on Lisa saying it. And if it needed to be said repeatedly, we could count on Lisa saying it. And I don't think however many people like Lisa, she held our feet to the fire quite a lot. And I think she thought that we didn't like it. But I felt and have always felt she worked really hard to keep us honest. And I appreciate that kind of involvement from a member of the community is special. And we were blessed to have her as part of the community, and we're going to miss her a lot. We'll have some opportunity during public comment for others to say something if they'd like to. And we're going to go now to oral comments for items that are not on the agenda. And I have a speaker slip from Andrew Boston. Andrew, if you could come in and.
I think we have that item on the agenda.
Oh, it's on the agenda.
That is an item that's on the agenda.
Thank you.
So we can.
Okay, so we'll go to Andrew when that item is up. Do you have any comments from members of the public for items that are not on the agenda? See, I recognize Ed Clark.
Yes. Hi, members of the board. It's nice to meet you. Is it possible for me to share my desktop? We have sent over some written documentation, which I think would be helpful just to make available for folks to read in real time.
I'm sorry, what is this about? Could you give us a?
I just want to see if I could share my desktop. Can you folks see my desktop?
Yes,
See it.
yes, go ahead. Go ahead with your.
Okay, thank you, Director Boyd. So we wanted, my wife and I, Lisa, you can lean in. Hello, it's nice to meet you all. We wanted to discuss with you the water main requirements for 350 9th Street. We are the homeowners. And so I provided this email earlier today. In case you haven't had a chance to read it yet, I will go ahead and read through it. I'll also share with you the supporting documentation. And so the district is requiring us to replace existing 4-inch and 1.5-inch mains on our upper end of our dead-end street with a new 6-inch main. I just wanted to really briefly show you what we're talking about. So you guys see here on the Google map, this is 350 9th Street. It is a dead-end street. We are where this red pin is. This is going to be our new home. And we're on a very, very steep street that will never connect, and our street does not lead anywhere. There's no neighboring developments. There's no subdivision. Due to the topology of the street, there's no meaningful possibility for a significant build out of homes and properties. So I just wanted to orient you folks. It's kind of an unusual situation. We're one of the only half dead end streets in Montara, because I kind of looked through the map just to see. Okay, so the ask or requirement from the district is for us to replace the 4-inch main and the 1.5-inch main with a new 6-inch main on our dead end street. The engineers, the California certified engineers who worked on this project from Aegis Fire Systems and from Sigma Prime, determined and communicated to the district staff that the existing water main provides sufficient flow and pressure to meet the needs of our homes, fire protection system and domestic use, as well as being able to support the capacity of the existing services. I did want to share with you some supporting documentation around this. And so the first is some confirmation, because we did reach out to the engineers who had worked on these projects. And just to confirm two things. So the Sigma Prime representative had asked Gary Kelsey of Aegis Fire Systems to calculate whether there was adequate supply for the fire suppression system and the existing 1.5-inch diameter main. And Gary calculated that the main had sufficient capacity and that there was no need for a 6-inch main. The other thing that we wanted to verify with Sigma Prime was that they had previously communicated this to the district engineer and the manager. And so, we received that confirmation. I just wanted to share this document. And so in service of just sharing some more of the documentation that we received from Sigma Prime, this Sigma Prime was working with representatives from the district engineers over at SRT. And originally what the district engineer had stated was that the district manager said that the 1.5-inch line main was insufficient to provide the fire protection flows to the property. And so Abby from Sigma Prime actually worked with Aegis Fire Systems and determined that given the height and the elevation and the amount of pressure in the system, that there was sufficient flow for fire protection. And Abby said he did speak with both Jerome and other staff from the district office about this. Okay, so let me go back to the email really quickly here.
And
Yes.
typically we have 3 minutes for public comment,
Ah.
so if you move through that pretty quickly.
Okay, sorry, I'll speed it up. So just for clarity, we're not a developer, it's just my wife and I, we're building a pretty modest sized home. As I said, we're at the upper end of a dead end street. There really isn't any possibility of significant infrastructure growth where we live. And so, the 6-inch main seems kind of to be overbuilding for what is needed. And, we saw in the specifications that the board has the discretion to approve, a different water main diameter that is than is in the specifications. So we kindly ask you to approve allowing a home to connect to the existing water main, given that the engineers performed all the calculations and determined that the capacity is already there. So that's one point, and then I have a second point, but let me just stop there in case the board has any comments or questions.
So this is a public comment period, so we're not going to be doing a back and forth.
Okay, all right. Well, the second thing that I wanted to mention was we did have conversations with the district staff back in the summer of 2022, and that was also attached. And my wife sent some notes over from that particular conversation. And the agreements at that time was that if we were to bear the burden of paying for the new 6-inch main, even though it seemed unnecessary, that the district would cover the cost of extending that beyond our property. And connecting the other existing homes. And so, this was something that we had documented at the time of the conversations, and that was the understanding up until we received the agreement template from the district office in March, which was a bit of an unpleasant surprise. So that is basically the summary of the ask. So either we ask that you allow us to connect to the existing main infrastructure, which is sufficient for meeting all of our needs in the existing properties on 9th Street, or secondarily, if you decide that we still need to build out that 6-inch main, that we stick to the original agreement of the district covering the costs for the extension beyond our property and the reconnection, since that seems at least somewhat proportionate and fair to us as the homeowners.
Okay.
So if I can just comment on this, this is a standard mainline extension agreement that will come to the board as soon as we have everything ready to do so. I understand we're almost there. I'm not quite sure if we have the review of the final documents concluded that were submitted. But so I'm very hopeful that this will be heard by this board as a regular agenda item in the very near future. And I think Ed and Lisa, I'd appreciate it if you can then repeat your statements there, and the board can then engage in a discussion and listen to what you have to say.
Hi, so I'm Lisa, and I just wanted to add in, is there any way possible, we've tried to get on the board meeting for several meetings, is there any way possible to expedite this or ensure that we're not waiting? We've been trying to do this since about February, March.
Yeah, and the last time actually, my wife ran into Director Boyd when she went to the office in person to drop off a check, and that was 2 meetings ago. And so we for whatever reason continue to not be included in the agenda. We're just concerned about the time.
We've given a deposit, and we've also filled out the whole application, and we don't think there's anything else that needs to be done to get on the board meeting.
That's right. Our deposit for $87,000 has already been made.
Okay.
Thank you for
So
your time.
what we just heard from Clemens is that as soon as everything is complete, then it will be brought to the board, and he anticipates that to be very soon, assuming that everything is actually complete. So thank you for coming, and thank you for the information, and I hope we can see you very soon.
We hope to see you in 2 weeks. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And if you could stop sharing your screen, we'll go on to the next. Anyone else? Thank you. All right. I recognize Greg Dieguez.
Is it appropriate for me to say a couple of words about Lisa right now?
Yes.
So I didn't know her as long as many people on the coast, but we worked together on and off for about 6 years. In addition to her extensive knowledge, I mean, she was willing to help on almost anything. And she would, as you mentioned, get you straight. She would give you the facts. But one of the legacies she's going to have, besides her lifting up people, is the database of knowledge capital about the Midcoast, which is embodied in the MCC website that she is primarily responsible for creating. And I hope that the community through the MCC will be able to preserve that. It is such a wealth of knowledge about everything that's gone on here for the last almost 30 years. She was just an invaluable resource, and she leaves a legacy, which I hope we could all appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. I recognize Sabrina Brennan.
Yeah, so I want to make sure I can speak to agenda item 1 and make sure that I'm speaking during public comment right now and not item 1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. So my neighbor just stopped by and he is fuming mad because he was locked out of your meeting tonight. He was forced to stand in the hallway and was disallowed from entering the meeting room, which ironically is why I'm here tonight. I would like to make a complaint about the fact that this board is blocking the public from attending meetings. And here we have further evidence of members of the public complaining who were just at your meeting this evening and could not enter the room. This is appalling and disgusting behavior on the part of the board. I don't know what your problem is. I tried to find that out the last time it happened to a group of people from your district, and we could not get any clear answers. Catherine Slater Carter seemed to indicate there was a problem with the construction of the building and that the room was not safe for people to enter because maybe the foundation was giving way or there was some sort of structural problem. We didn't get any follow-up or clarity on what is going on, but I am asking you to relocate your board meetings to a room that can allow the public to attend your public meetings. And we're just disgusted that this is continuing. It has to stop. This was not how Paul Perkovic ran these meetings. When he was president of the board, I attended numerous meetings in the same room that you're sitting in tonight, and there was always seating for the public. I don't know why that changed, but it's completely unacceptable and it needs to change back, or you need to move your meetings to another building, to another room that will accommodate the public, because you are holding public meetings. This is not a smoke-filled back room. This is a public meeting. So please do something about it ASAP. And I heard that our supervisor, Ray Mueller, has spoken to you all about this very problem, and you still haven't corrected it. So I'm pretty pissed off about it. So please do something about it. And Scott, just because you want to wear a mask doesn't mean that the public cannot attend the meetings. It's not all about you, okay? The rest of us who are served by this district have a right to attend. So pull it together. That's it.
All right. Thank you for your comments. The public has the right to attend. We bring speakers in one at a time. The full meeting is available to the people in the waiting area with a screen and audio. And this is very similar to what happens in other public venues when there's overflow seating. I'll get to Clemens in a second to talk about the concern about the seating in the room.
The screen is not working tonight,
Scott. Is that the case?
It's working. It was working just now.
We have had major technical issues in this room, just as a heads up. That is true.
Okay, so I did see a member of the public take some pictures. They were not picked out. So if there's an issue with what's available in the overflow seating, we'll work that out. Yeah, this is I don't know if Christine might want to say something, but Clemens, do you want to say anything?
I can only repeat what you said. Again, the room is unsafe for large groups. That is why we have this set up. The meetings have to be within Montara Water and Sanitary District. The regular scheduled board meetings or any board meetings have to be within the district. There is no room available that can substitute this room at this time. That is why we are in the process of getting a permit for a second building that allows us then to remodel this one. The available rooms that we used in the past are not available, meaning Fairlawn View is A, being remodeled, and B, they changed their policy. They don't allow anyone to rent the rooms anymore. We've had the same issue with the Pillar Ridge Mobile Home Park. We would love to hold meetings at Pillar Ridge and have asked many times. We've offered insurance and other things and are not allowed. Another facility that we've used in the past was the Randy Dardanel's place, and that was converted such that it is not usable anymore. So there is no room available besides this one, and this is unfortunately the only alternative. Thank you.
So I'd mentioned too that we had also previously used, occasionally used space over at the lighthouse and at Seton Coastside. Seton Coastside's not available,
Right.
and the lighthouse is just too difficult for people who have difficulty ambulating to get to. And it's also not open and available for
It's
this
not
kind of
open.
use at this point. So I appreciate the concern, but we're making effort to make sure that people can observe and participate in every meeting, no matter what. Also want to mention, yeah, Ray Mueller was kind enough to offer his space. Clemens mentioned a constraint that we have, and so his space where he has his office is not available for our meetings because by law, our meetings must be conducted within the boundaries of the district, and his office is outside the boundary of this district. Bill, did you have a comment on this?
Yes, this cuts very close to a number of things I care about. I have not heard from Ray Mueller any of that. I talked to him a couple days ago, Green Machines, and he didn't mention it. So if there has been a push for getting back in free space, I'm actually glad to hear it, but I was upset by the tone. I really don't like my colleagues called names like that. I don't think it reflects on me because I have never in my 2 years had the opportunity to vote on anything remotely like that. And I think everybody knows how I vote. My wife and I are essentially the two scientists in the world who have quantified how bad screens are for humans and especially for social interaction. I got sworn in over Zoom. I was attending, a couple years of getting ready for this over Zoom. I've never had a normal meeting. I've never had constituents in the room, more than 2. So I personally would like to find out how many people this room can hold. We've got a CO2 monitor, which I pushed for, and as long as it's under 1,000, everybody's safe from that. Find out how many people it can hold and pack in as many as we are healthy with. That's what I'd like.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Here's the letter. Ray sent us all a copy, so you probably have one in your mail. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Right.
no, it was a kind offer, and we're grateful for it, but unable to take them up on it. Sid?
Okay, so I wanted to say a few things. One is that I appreciate the fact that you had a moment of silence for Lisa Ketchum, and I too agree with Greg. Her MCC website was incredible resource, and that's where I got all the documentation of our past information related to the Caltrans right away, because it was all archived there. And so I know she's going to be sorely missed. And I appreciate the fact that you're allowing the public to comment, because I went to the MCC the night they had their letter that they read, and they wouldn't let anyone comment, and 4 people walked out. So that was really horrible. As far as the, not allowing people in this room, when I came on the board in 2023, I was told that we wanted to hold our 65th celebration, and we were going to make this room into like the historical archive, but we couldn't allow a lot of people in because I believe it was dry rot or some kind of structural information, structural negative. And that was 3 years ago, and I haven't heard anything on any board meeting of us actually making plans to move forward to get this building repaired. So I think there is a point that the constituent who called in said that we need to address that somehow. I know we have other issues, tons of other issues, but that one is important. And then the other thing is, with the sheriff's substation that's right there in Moss Beach. I don't know if it's available, but we used to have, Don Horsley would have Donuts with Don there, and there's a back room that's bigger than this. We could look at it and ask Ray Mueller. I know he's not got the best, how should we say, relationship with the sheriff's department right now, but as far as I know, that building is not really being used very much at all, because half of they glommed onto the sheriffs and made them all move down there, so that would be great.
We inquired on that room.
Oh, I'm sorry, you
We did
inquire?
ask, yes.
They said no?
Correct.
Oh, geez. Well, that was the only other one I could come up with.
Okay.
But anyway, I do want us to move forward with planning things, and like I saw that email from the parks. And they said they tried to get this on the agenda, but I mean, I've tried to get things on the agenda too, and we don't put them on, so maybe we should have more accountability about that. That's all I'm saying. Thanks.
Okay, so I just want to highlight, claimants did mention working on getting an alternate space for us so the work here can begin. Can't take it out of commission while we're using it, so I'm glad to see staff is doing work to prepare. Deborah?
Ray Mueller, I've had several conversations with him, and he offered his office in El Granada and Princeton as a place to have a memorial meeting for Sid. I'm sorry, for
I may be there next.
Lisa.
yeah, for
Please the
Lisa
catch.
Ketchum. I've got the C's and the K's mixed up. In any event, I haven't heard if anybody is following up with this. I will make it more public when I know. One of the things that Lisa did, which can be undone very shortly, that's what I would suggest everyone learn, is go to, I think Montara.com has a website that has a list of invasive weeds. You had some plants there for a long time, and I haven't been there for a while. Lisa was very, very passionate about stopping invasive weeds from taking home here. Pampas grass was a least favorite of hers. And there are quite a few. There is a native plant society here, and we could certainly work on getting pictures of them up. When you're out walking and you see, not weeds, but invasives, then I think it's a good thing to bend over. It's good exercise. Or you can do your squats doing this, or however you want to exercise your lower torso and pull weeds.
You need goats.
We can have a weed pulling hike every week.
Well, rather than go that organized, I just say those people who are walking can also take a breather and pull.
About the thing for Lisa, last I heard it was planned by Michelle Dragony for May 31st at Ray's office. But then I think the MCC is usurping that. I'm not sure. It was sort of like a conversation I had today, and I didn't hear it from Michelle. So
She's here tonight, so
okay,
maybe
good.
she'll
Maybe,
weigh in.
yeah.
Let's
that'd be great.
we've got a lot to do tonight. Thank you all. Do we have any other public comment for items that are not on the agenda? Okay, so let's get on with new business item. Oh, pardon me, the consent agendas. Any board member wish to pull anything for consideration? Not seeing anyone, so can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Make a motion.
All right. Okay, so Peter and Bill, it's been moved and seconded. We're all here in the room. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. The consent agenda is approved. Let's go to new business item 1, report and update concerning Seal Cove Critical Geotechnical Hazards Area Emergency.
Yeah,
Before you continue, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just
Go
wanted
ahead.
to, I'm sorry.
Yes, please go ahead, Christine.
Thank you so much. That Director Young is required to recuse herself from this item due to her conflict of interest under Government Code section 87-100. She lives within the designated range for real property under the conflict of interest rules. So I'm sorry, Director Young, you're going to need to step out like last time.
I'm not 500 feet from La Grande Avenue, so I'd rather stay. It
Well,
is my district.
there's
It's my
other-
elected
yeah.
district.
I know you'd rather stay, and there's other factors that factor into the real property conflict of interest rules.
Like, such as,
There's another 1,000 feet range for I'm trying to remember.
I'm sorry, we're talking about St. Lucas right now.
oh, I'm sorry, it said La Grande on our,
We're talking
Well,
also about,
this is Seal Cove, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
unfortunately, the work that's being performed and the initial emergency work was within 500 feet of your residence. And on that basis, that precludes you from participating in any item. We've talked about this.
well, we did when it was on my street, but I thought this was about La Grande, and I just want to bring up the fact.
It's
that
an
when I looked
update
at-
for the whole
Okay.
area.
Right, when I looked on the agenda tonight, they were missing the attachment, and that's all about La Grande Avenue, and nobody saw it, it wasn't on our website, and it wasn't posted for the directors either. So I would like to object if you vote on anything that has to do on La Grande, it wasn't given in a timely manner, thank
so-
you, I'll leave.
Clemens, the packet, when was the packet online?
packet is online on Monday evenings, and the attachment wasn't ready, so that's why we are prepared to share it on screen tonight.
Mhm.
And
But
there is nothing that is to be approved about this.
Okay, so
not voting.
excuse me,
It's fine.
excuse me. The staff report was online when? I couldn't hear. Some
Monday evening.
Monday evening, so well in advance. So let me just note that the staff report starts and talks about a number of different streets in that area. So that information about the affected area has been online for a while.
Part that says attached was not attached until I called at 4:30 this afternoon.
Yes,
The-
it was
that-
not
That
ready.
that
on
may well
Monday.
be, but I see.
Just saying, I don't think it's right.
Sid, you keep interrupting me.
Fine.
No, it's
You're
not
keeping me
fine.
out of the room, so,
No. State
Not-
law is very clear on this topic.
okay.
Any of us who are elected are here as public servants, and public servants are subject to the law, especially the law around conflict of interest. And the law is exquisitely clear on this point.
Okay, that's fine.
This is
I'll
not,
get a
this is
relief.
not personal in any way,
All right.
and
I still don't think it's fair to the people who live on La Grande. This wasn't published on the agenda when the rest of it was. That's all I'm saying. Thanks. I'll go out in the
okay,
hall.
I'm
Come back when you call me.
gonna finish my point, and that is the staff report, which lists the streets involved, has been online since Monday. So here we are on Thursday. And it's great when we can have all the attachments, but it is entirely normal that staff has a presentation of additional detail. So the staff report is to get us ready to let people know about what's on, coming up and what's of interest. And that was made available. So let me turn it to staff.
Thank you, Scott. All right, so the title of this item is Report and Update Concerning Seal Cove Critical Geotechnical Hazards Area Emergency. So this board declared an emergency on March 27 about the Seal Cove Critical Geotechnical Hazard Area. And we took a number of actions. We have this item on the agenda first to provide a status of the emergency work performed and the future work to be performed, and also the overall condition of the emergency in Seal Cove. And we are asking the board to determine whether the situation warrants continuation of the emergency. We have to do that at every regular meeting following the emergency declaration. So we have continued to address the land movement and impact to water and sewer assets in the Seal Cove area. And we recommend that the emergency authorization continues. And I'm going to give an update on the work that we've done so far. And it starts immediately with LeGrand. So we noticed movement on LeGrand Avenue. It's actually opening the road, and our live water main that is 3 feet below ground is exposed and at imminent risk of failure. So that is why we are focused on this area to bring out a first design to address LeGrand Street that can serve as a template for the other affected homes in that landslide area so that we can keep everyone in service. I'm going to share this proposal after I go through the other changes. This is the attachment that Sid mentioned, so I want to show actually that design. But before, I want to say that we also completed the relocation of the water main in San Lucas near Del Mar. We moved the main from the north side to the south side to better protect the main and also maintain service to that nearby hydrant on that corner. We additionally relocated the domestic and also the fire sprinkler service connection for 98 San Lucas Avenue. We're also relocated the most western sewer manhole in San Lucas and Del Mar. And that was moved further east out of the impacted areas. And that also entailed the extension of the private shared sewer lateral for homes on that block. And we also provided a new temporary connection to 89 San Lucas. That's still a temporary. We still are working towards improving that. But that is a new, we're going away from a hose. It's a better connection at this point. And that is connected via blow off on Ocean Avenue water main. We completed a mapping of all new scarping in the affected areas. We distributed a second update on the district emergency declarations to all residents in the Seal Cove area. We distributed the newsletter that is also talking about the emergency and informs the entire district about it. And then we are looking at some specific areas here. We're assessing the water main in Ocean Avenue, and that is the block from Madrone to San Lucas. And we're determining whether to cap this main, which also would then, we would provide service through a similar model as I'm going to show on San Lucas. We're looking at the same the west end section of Los Baños. That also would involve the relocation of a hydrant that is right there, just about to fall down the cliff. And we are working together with the fire district to assess also how to best to continue to provide water and particularly fire service to the Moss Beach Distillery and the surrounding homes. That is an area where we have to think about an above ground water main line. And we are looking, of course, at a close cooperation with Coastside Fire Protection District and also the county, San Mateo County, looking at the risk assessments, geotechnical assessments, solutions. We have to, of course, coordinate all of this very closely with San Mateo County. And lastly, we are, of course, committed to keeping everyone in the district, particularly the folks that are affected, informed about what's happening. Let me share screen and just run through. Okay, so here we are. So this is a concept that we worked on with our operations and engineering departments. And what you're seeing here in purple running down Le Grand is the existing water main. And this is ultimately the water main line that needs to be abandoned. So we're suggesting to abandon it here and provide and relocate the meters to the homes to a shared area in the public right of way here, and run the service lines then above ground, utilizing traffic ramps that are specifically designed for this purpose, and run the service lines above ground that way and provide service to the homes that are in the active zone of the movement. So the recommendation is, so, and this, again, this is something that, by the way, the district looked at in 2006 already. There was a study done that suggested exactly this solution. And this is what we see in other landslide areas throughout California. It's particularly ideal because, of course, it can be monitored, it can be easily extended, and provides an easy way to ensure that everybody remains in a service throughout, throughout whatever may come here. So the recommendation is to move approval determining that the emergency condition still exists and warrants continuing the suspension of competitive bidding and authorizing the expenditure of funds therefore. So we hope that we find agreement with Fire District and San Mateo County on how to proceed, but this is essentially what we are discussing with them at this point.
Okay, I know let's go to comments from the audience first. If we could see them back on the screen, please.
Yes, 1 second.
Okay, so I'm going to recognize on this item, got Andrew. You're Andrew? Okay. Okay, so I've got your speaker slip.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'll be the place for, why don't we start with you since I think.
Yep.
Slip early, and then following Andrew, we'll go to Sabrina, and following Sabrina, we'll go to Matt. And if anyone else is interested, please raise your hand. Let's go to Andrew Boston, please.
Thank you. And this is all new to me. So the sewer would run with the water. Is that the thinking?
No. I mean, that is ultimately, I think, what has to happen. That's what you and I discussed.
Yeah.
But we are right now talking about addressing the water side.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I live, my house is one of those on the screen. I live there with my wife and two little girls, and Wiggles, who is our ferocious little 1 foot high dog. Who has been sad to be informed recently that her favorite sniffing spot is now biohazard area. Over the weekend and on Monday, we kind of noticed that there is sewage coming out, and ended up contacting SAM, which is the normal sewer authority in coast, which is our normal. Got sit over here, got sit back, and I understand there's a lot in flux right now, but it felt like I was chasing the ball here a fair bit, and it's still leaking today. And then we had a conversation, Clemens and I had a good conversation around just the future of what happens to these pipes, and that there was the residents of Le Grand could be responsible for what has been considered historically a public sewer main. And instead, it's being classified as of Monday as a private shared lateral. Apparently, we are expected to form a micro government, draft sewer policy, and push our lateral into another main, which presumably would then immediately be reclassified as a private shared lateral as soon as we did it, right? Like I guess the joke is it's like hard to know where that ends. And we're expected to do this while I'm trying to yell at my kids from playing in the sewage in the street. which is not not where I want to be. So, you know, if this is true, it's abandonment, you know, right as the pipes are breaking. And when customers need you most. And if, you know, you guys are a public utility, you don't get to pick and choose your most profitable customers like a business or a hedge fund. We are, you know, we're in a bad spot. And to my knowledge, you know, there's not been a resolution or public notification around this until recently. And, you know, one of tonight's, the agenda item you just showed, which is super helpful. It was missing until I showed up. So I appreciate you sharing that. The phrase private shared lateral, which apparently, according to Clemens, at least it has always been, does not appear in any public document prior to Monday. It's not in the SSMP. It's not in any board minutes, capital plans, or policy documents from 1980 through today, at least that are publicly available online. It's not in your recorded resolution, and it does not appear in any property disclosures. You know, I've read through a bunch of documents going back decades, from master plan minute meetings going back to like 2013 that you have online. Couldn't find anything. And I found a bunch of references to the public sewer main on the ground. Yeah, and then they couldn't find anything on when it was reclassified. So, you know, even called out Rich Briscoe, a professional plumber who's worked in the neighborhood for years. He was with us today. He ran a scope, and he said he cannot scope under the line of public right of way into the street because it is considered public infrastructure, and he does not have the authority to do that. So couldn't even check it out and see where the leak was coming from. But realistically, like my question is not about technical repair logistics. It's kind of a question of transparency and trust. Trust that you won't abandon us in this time of need. You know, PG&E didn't abandon Paradise when it burned down. You know, they still provide them electricity today, and it's even when it's really inconvenient to vulnerable communities. So I don't really want to raise my family in a community that puts unprofitable residents at risk. And so I've asked to meet with the board. I haven't received a reply. It's been a busy week for all of you, and I appreciate all the help that you've provided. But I'd like to get the immediate sewer leak resolved if possible, and find a long-term solution that kind of works for everyone. So thank you for giving me the time. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the work you do. I'd love to find a way to work together. And yeah, I hope Legos gets to sniff around soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clemens?
Yeah, I want to address a couple of things here. So thanks for your comments, Andrew. And I understand the situation that you're in. First of all, I want to say that all customers in Montara and Moss Beach, as well as in the entire coast side, Half Moon Bay, Grenada as well. The homeowner is responsible for the entire lateral. So any plumber should know that the work extends also in the public right of way. So
that's true, but nobody had, like, Sam has been out to our place before.
Right.
It has mentioned they used to, until very recently, they were also in charge of the grinder.
I don't want to get into back and
right?
forward, but yes. So everybody in the district owns their laterals. Now, in Seal Cove, the district had a situation like we are in right now on the sewer side in the 80s, and provided a solution and built essentially the infrastructure that is right now there. There was a continuation of maintenance because the way this was financed allowed the district for some time to continue to maintain the facilities. Now, with this emergency and with this rise in issues, and looking at how much we spent and how much we collected for this, essentially, you are correct. This is not longer feasible for the district. And I acknowledge this is a situation that, again, requires, I think, a communal approach. And at this time, because these are private facilities, we are hoping very much that San Mateo County can step into this mix and work with us, meaning the residents out there as well as us, and provide financing at best and other help for the residents out there.
What do you mean by private facilities?
Like I said,
The
laterals.
lateral.
I mean, the district built the infrastructure in the 80s, essentially as private utilities, right? With laterals, with some shared laterals to exactly address this landslide issue, right? And again, the financing that was created for this ran out. Some funds were left. Those were utilized for some maintenance, but the situation is unsustainable for this community as such. And that's where I'm saying, we need to find some help here. Without addressing the private situation, just looking at what is the work that we need to do outside of the active landslide area to address this on the sewer side alone is around $3 million. That does not entail anything on the water side, and on the water side, as you see, what we're suggesting, it's going to be, even more expensive. So again, this is something where we hope we find common ground with San Mateo County, and hopefully can, work with the residents to provide solutions. And those might look similar to what is on the water side, above ground or flex pipe in the ground. At this time, we don't understand exactly, for example, where would we be able to put lead facilities in the ground, where not. All of these questions need to be looked at and addressed. So I can't comment, very detailed, because everybody's just trying to find out what's possible.
And with regards to an active sewage leak, what should we do?
Well, I made the recommendation already, what everybody else does in the district with a sewer leak on their lateral, and that is, call the plumber.
This isn't my lateral.
Right?
This is a private shared lateral, which is
Correct.
a new term as of Monday.
Yes. Yes.
And there are fines associated with that, correct?
That's correct. The county health department has fines that could be levied to each homeowner.
And the EPA has fines that would be levied to who exactly?
To district, well, that would affect district-owned facilities.
And it seems like if we're willing to and it's our lateral as well as the main that are currently leaking, but what used to be considered the main that we're now trying to rebrand as the shared private lateral, which serves about 11 homes. That seems like it's a problem. That seems like something that we should be actively willing to solve, and there are negative consequences to not solving it quickly that have a hefty financial bill. So if we don't have the ample funding, it would seem like we should put out the fire first before we start building.
That's why I'm working closely with San Mateo County, who they are taking action. I understand that they are getting involved in your specific situation as well. I think it's very important to point out that the way we collect rates, the process is called Prop 218, essentially prohibits us from spending these revenues for a particular group, like this would be the case in Seal Code. So we have to be very careful, in this situation. And I understand it's an evolving situation. I also understand San Mateo County will contact you, and hopefully we can work together.
Okay.
Is one of the problems that your plumber is encountering that he cannot access the public right of way? The county of Sanitary doesn't allow him to go in there.
He said he did not have the authority. And I have a written note from that, that's relevant, but he said for years, every time he's run into any private lateral, single private lateral. You guys have come out and taken care of it. Where to the point where he doesn't feel comfortable doing it, and he doesn't feel like he has, we can bring in Rich, he's great. But he said he wouldn't do it.
So so again, plumbers are very much used to working in the public right of way along the entire coast side.
Rich has worked in this neighborhood for 30 years.
Well, then he really should understand that the lateral is owned and maintained by the homeowners. What is Bill? What is required from anyone is a permit with Montara Water and Sanitary District, and I already told you that we're waiving the fees and just hoping that our engineer can help, resolve the situation.
The problem I face, and I think this problem extends to the problem the whole neighborhood faces, which is if I fix my private lateral, then you tell me my main is no longer a main. And we have to create our own little private water district that feeds into your district. Like it just becomes this quagmire of little fiefdoms of people arguing over. And like we do need a body that sits on top and is able to make decisions.
And that is San Mateo
like we're
County
doing
Health
that.
Department in this case, and shared laterals are a common occurrence throughout California.
They do exist. That's true.
Okay,
Okay,
all right,
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
all right. All right, so I believe what I had said, and now things on the screen have changed a little bit, and I should have written it down. I said, let's go to Sabrina. And then who was it that I said was next? Was
He has a yellow hand and a yellow back. I can see from.
It's
Oh,
Matt. I believe Matt was second,
okay. All
and
right,
then
thank you.
Dennis added. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Hey, yeah, Matt, your background kind of hides it just the yellow hand kind of goes into the wood grain, which I love the ceiling, by the way. Sabrina, let's go to you.
Yes, so I'm concerned about this board and their staff denying paying customers service and abandonment of service and infrastructure to serve constituents. That is not what anybody had in mind when we became a public water district, which you guys in the past have been so proud of. And I would like to remind you that there are many pockets throughout the district that from one time to another have required above and beyond your regular service. So this is certainly not the first time, and it won't be the last time. There are areas throughout, and we're not talking about Seal Cove here. So it would not be hard to put together a list of all the various areas throughout your district, our district, where you have had to pay a lot of extra money to deal with water emergency situations. So to try to point the finger at La Grande or San Lucas as being the only places where this sort of thing has happened is absurd. I think we all know these types of things have happened for years. Untold fortunes have been spent to keep the distillery restaurant open and other locations throughout the district. So the point that it's just La Grande that should have to pay and become some private fiefdom or whatever, it doesn't make sense, and it's inconsistent with how you've served the public in the past. So I just think that needs to be thought about very carefully by the board members. I also would like to point out that $3 million was mentioned by Clemens, and I have not had time to read the staff report because it was not part of the packet in a timely fashion when the meeting was noticed. That's unacceptable, but be that as it may, I haven't read all of it, so I don't know where the $3 million is coming from. is there an estimate attached here so we can see what $3 million he's talking about and how we arrived at the situation where the board decided to put this on the agenda, or Clemens decided to put this on the agenda because somebody thought the cost was too high for the district to cover it. I'd like to know more about where the estimate came from. Can we get provided a copy of that if it's not part of the packet? I'm requesting it now. I would like it. And I think everybody in these impacted areas certainly would want to see where this estimate came from. Getting back to Andrew's points, I just want to say I agree with all of his concerns and I support his concerns. I'm not going to repeat them all. He did a good job of explaining what's happening to local homeowners. Scott, stop talking down to Sid. You sound like a bully. We elected Sid. She's our representative. You're having an informational item tonight. There's absolutely no reason that Sid needed to recuse herself for an informational item, and especially an item in a community where she lives. We elected her to represent us. She should be able to sit in the room, be treated with respect by her fellow board members, and listen and learn and hear what the members of the public raise as concerns. And for you to kick her out on an informational item is unnecessary. It's bullying and it's completely unacceptable. And your lawyer, I'm sorry, is just doing your bidding. And I think most of us know that. So stop doing that. She should be here. And I'm really disappointed that you all threw her out of the meeting tonight. That's pretty much it. Oh, there is some notes from members of the community who weren't able to attend because they didn't find out about the meeting in time. Let's see what those are. In general, the community is requesting that there be a public informational meeting with staff. And I suppose if the board president wanted to attend, that would be fine too, or some member of the board. We'd like to have you come out. We'd like to have you do a walk through the neighborhood. We'd like to have Clemens explain things on the ground. We'd like to have really good, clear communication with the district. That has not been happening. We'd also like to be able to attend your meetings so we can ask our questions in person. And the fact that you can't find another space, I find that very hard to believe, and I don't think you've tried hard enough. So I would encourage you to do your due diligence and find a meeting space at another location so that the public can attend, because you, my friends, are violating the Brown Act, and you know it. So stop violating the Brown Act. It's a state law. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And I hope that you will conduct a public site walk with staff members so that we can understand what it is that you're talking about here and not find out at the last minute with a missing staff report. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to address a couple of things here. One, this is an emergency, and as you may have noticed from reading the agenda, as long as the emergency continues, this will be on every single agenda. So members of the Seal Cove community, please come to every single meeting until this emergency is ended. We will have a meeting. This will be on every single agenda. So I'm sorry if it comes as a surprise to anyone, but we said this at the time that we declared the emergency. We said it at the last meeting. We're saying it again tonight. We welcome you here. And I do want to note that we did have a member of the public here in person. I believe you all saw that. The meeting room it's inconvenient the way we've got it set up right now. That is certainly true, but we are finding ways to make it work. And then this is not an information item. The board has action to take on this item. So this is an action item. So even so, I don't know that would create an exception for what the conflict of interest regulations were about. I see our attorney agreeing. Oh, and then on one final point, I promise you that Christine is more than willing to disagree with me whenever it's called for. I welcome her counsel because I don't always have it right. Let's go next to Matt Noel. Thank you, Matt. Your turn. Let's get you unmuted if you can.
Yeah, Matt, you need to unmute. Unmute, Matt.
It's at the bottom.
Okay, all of us
Yeah.
talking. No.
I'm sorry.
Matt, are you able
It might be Wi-Fi.
to unmute by clicking on the microphone icon?
Is it possible if I go next?
I'm sorry, who was
We
asking
did
that?
have, that was Andrew, but we do have Dennis who had his hand up first.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, so Matt, if you can, we're going to go on to Dennis. We'll come back to you if you can manage to unmute. Thank you everyone for your patience. Dennis, let's go to you.
My name's Dennis Broderick. I'm a Montara water customer for 30 years. I find it really offensive that you, if you're the board president, Scott, are saying the public is welcome. I'm the guy who came in and took the pictures and left because your screen wasn't working outside like it wasn't on the 27th. Not working. No place to stand. Yet look at the table space. You're very comfortable leaning over. So's the lady to your left. So's the guy. There's 3 or 4 tables in there that don't need to be in there if you really were welcoming the public. You are not. You are trying to keep us out for whatever reason. Let me get to my points. That one just came up because of what you said that I take offense to. Now I'm going to go to my comments. Notifications that I brought up on the 27th. Wholly inadequate. Maybe you've discovered someplace where there's a rule or a law or another section that you can't use your email lists to get some of these notifications out. Because I get one, but my neighbor across the street doesn't get one. My neighbor across the street tells me there's one posted in the post office. I don't go to the post office every day. I don't check the website every day. It's not that difficult. You've got some very good people in the office there that could put an email list together, and whatever you wanted to say Monday night or tonight at 7:00 could go out in seconds. I don't understand why notification is a problem, but there's a lot I don't understand. Let me get to some questions. So we've got an emergency. We can't do any work out there. Yet this week, today, you're unloading what looks to be like a stormwater catch basin at the corner of Park and Beach down the hill from where there was a massive water leak that you guys are well aware of. Is that one not dangerous? Is that one not in the emergency zone? How about the new site that you cut on Burnell? Okay, that's not in zone 2. It's right next to it. It's going to be using the same water main, the same sewer main that comes in and out of Seal Cove, unless you're doing something different. How is it that you determine, or how is it going to be determined? I can just imagine what's land movement versus lack of maintenance. For whatever reason, and I'm sure it's monetary, the maintenance has been kicked and kneed and rolled down the road for as long as I've been paying attention. And I've been trying to not pay attention. I just want to live my life and have what I'm paying for, have what I've paid for. But it doesn't seem to have much
effect.
Thank you. And the reason I left is only because I'm not going to come to a public meeting, be held in an anteroom that doesn't have any connection to the public meeting and just wait. Okay. I did that the last time. Why why is Montara Water and Sanitary District conducting their business like this? I met with Ray Mueller after the 27th meeting, and he offered his office in Princeton. Okay, it's not in there, can't get it. That was my first attempt. I can come up with a room better than the one you're welcoming the public to. But that's
Dennis?
not my job.
Well, if you do come up with some options, we're open to hearing
Well,
them.
I know if I'll do the work, then you'll listen to it. And okay. So those are my points. I think you heard what I'm saying. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm upset.
No.
But why am I angry and upset? Like I said in the 27th meeting, the emergency meeting that I wasn't notified over. I don't believe the land shifting is Montara Water and Sanitary District's problem. I don't believe it's the county problem. I'm not trying to lay it at the feet, but I'm looking for some help. I'm looking for some advice. I'm looking for some information, and you guys don't supply it.
This is
I'm done.
Andrew Corcoran. I'm a neighbor of Dennis. I live at 146 La Grande Avenue.
Andrew, if you could hold on
Hold
for
on.
Andrew, if you could just hold on for just a second.
Okay.
Dennis, thank you for your comments. Taking a good number of notes on this. I'm serious. We're not going to turn away help if you come up with some suggestions about an alternate meeting space for the interim while we deal with the building problems. And I apologize. I was unaware that the monitor in the hallway was not working. We had people work on it until it got working. It's been working since about the time you left, I think. But that kind of thing, anyone who comes and that's not working, make sure I know, because we'll hold up on the meeting until we have that working.
It didn't work. It didn't work the last meeting, the emergency meeting, and you weren't at that one. That was my second one. Shame on me. But can you understand the frustration? That's all. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not making this personal. It's just frustration that, on top of everything else we got going on, I want to be working with you. I want to be having you as a partner in this, not as some adversary. That's not going to help anyone. And I'm not alone in feeling this way.
All right. Well,
thank you for your time. I hope you get it worked out wherever I can. I'm out.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Let's go to Andrew Corcoran, and then we'll go to Matt Knoll after that.
Yeah, I second Sabrina and Dennis's frustration on about consultation, and the question and point I mainly want to make is about the consultation on the diagram that you presented of the plan for La Grande Avenue. Before I get to the question, just to pinpoint my house, if you had the diagram back up, I'm on the corner where the meters are proposed in front of my house. So I'd be the first house with the blue new lines running by them. And it seems to me there'd be quite a few options for how you did that design. The subsidence is about 30 feet further down the road. And just using my house as one example, I'm on a corner with San Ramon on the other side, and I have access to the water on the other side of my house, as well as on La Grande Avenue. And so I think my question is, what process is there for consulting the homeowners affected on that particular design? And is there still room for discussion on the implementation of that plan?
So first of all, you're in the corner house. I did not point out that the plans are actually calling for so your house is currently served through that main line, but it is possible for us to relocate your service for your house to the main line on, I'm sorry, what is the corner? What's the
San Ramon.
San Ramon. So our plans call for your situation essentially to be cutting the service line and installing a fixed service line, an underground service line in to San Ramon. Similar, we did the similar thing on San Lucas. Now, I want to caution you because I understand that the main dip is further down the road. But if you are looking at actually the historical and new recorded movements, it is getting very close to the intersection of San Ramon and La Grande. So the scarpings, aren't visible right now in the pavement. But I think, was it your house that had substantial work done to the foundation? So there is significant movement. And our intent is not to, it's essentially to get to an area that is safe. And to your other question, this is a very early stage. This is the document that we're sharing with San Mateo County. So we need to get in agreement with San Mateo County, and particularly what we're looking for is help to address this very question. What is actually here an area that will not be impacted in the future and what not? Now, we have a lot of geotechnical knowledge here available with our staff, and understand quite a bit about how these scarpings extend. And again, I can tell you that the areas just west of the intersection are already impacted. I hope I addressed most of your questions, Andrew.
Yeah, I think so. The just one supplementary, where there are ramps proposed in the diagram, which are on our, I guess, easements just in front of our driveways. How do you see that working? And can you tell us any more about what those ramps are like and what also covers the blue piping where there's not a ramp? Presumably they're not just pipes exposed, they're in some sort of covering.
The pipes are going to be staked down. I mean, that's the suggestion. To stake them down in other areas, meaning they're fixed through ground anchors that aren't as visible. The ramps are traffic rated ramps that are very common for this purpose. They have the specific amount of slots for the number of pipes that need to run through it.
Yeah. Well, it's a very much later in the process, but it seems to make sense to me that the ramps just run all the way along the street in one continuous line for visual aesthetics.
Yeah, so everything we do is supposed to be in the public right of way until we, of course, enter the properties to serve them.
It sounds like there'll be some opportunity for discussion, and thank you for raising the interest, your concerns, Andrew. It sounds like Clemens will be in contact on these kind of issues, or we can have that conversation. Is that right?
Yes, I mean, again, we are looking first. I mean, this is really, first we're trying to understand what the county's comments are, right? I mean, this is, again, I don't think you would see this in other situations that a design, is shared in this fashion. And we do this just because we think it's important to share anything we can with, the folks that are affected. I believe it's a very good solution and it's a very good design. It is a design that is very common in other areas of landslides, right? So we're not, making this up out of thin air. There's a lot of experience in other areas of California where there are similar or worse situations, and that's how that is addressed. Again, we had a study done in the 2005 and 6 years that was trying to pair and address, and came exactly up with these kind of designs. So, I mean, again, we're happy to receive input, write us letters, comment as, at the public meetings. And we're trying to stay as engaged as we can with everyone out there. And there will be, of course, a point when we are coming to an agreement with the other agencies and then approach each individual homeowner, and we'll have a discussion on what that means for them and how we provide service going forward.
Every single point that I've heard so far has to do with communication. And the good news is we can be better at it. If there's an email listserv, send out emails. If it's possible to sit down with a map in front of people and point to things with your marker and look at the ground underfoot, that's a lot better than like squinting at a PowerPoint at a public meeting. So of course, it's an emergency. We're the ones who are saying it's an emergency, so we should be meeting with them with maps in person. And so I think my sense is as long as we can communicate well enough that everybody knows in great detail what's going on, probably before the county does, because they live there, they'll be happy and we'll do the right thing.
Okay, so let's go next to Matt and then Young, and then we've got Pippin, and then we'll see if there's any other members of the public, and then we'll go to the board. So Matt, please.
Thank
you.
We're at 131 LeGrand across from Andrew. How are we supposed to have been notified of this meeting or the project that's proposed?
So public meeting notifications are happening through, first of all, email lists, and this is a procedure for any public agency. So you just to be on that list and you will be notified.
So we had to actively give you our email in order to learn about what's going on here. Is that what you're saying?
Additionally, we post the notification and the staff reports before the meeting. That is 72 hours before each meeting. You will find this on our website. Our meetings are regularly scheduled every first and third Thursday. So anyone can look that up either on our website or through the postings throughout the district. So for example, at the post offices, you will find actual physical copies, or at our district office in the bulletin board outside. You will also see, the notification for any of our public meetings.
Is there a means to be notified by email? It sounded like you said there was.
Yes.
Okay, is that documented on the website?
If you send an email to info, let's see, let me get it right. I'm going to read it from the website.
If it's on the website, I'll find it. You don't need to go through it now.
Yeah, it's info@mwsd.net.
Okay.
Or any other email you find on the website.
Yeah.
Okay. My one other comment is I do not believe you that you can't find a meeting room where you can do this in a more reasonable manner. That's completely implausible. You're just not bothering to do it. That's all I had to say. Thank you. You haven't convinced me at all.
Nayan, am I saying this right?
Yes, thank you very much for having us. I'm Nayang. I live on La Grande as well. And there has been active sewage on our street where 3-year-old, my daughter, is running around. And I believe there is an EPA concern about this and that EPA fines related to this. Can I please hear your answer on this?
I think I addressed this already.
About the health hazard of kids in active sewage?
Correct. So the San Mateo County Health Department, who is in charge here, has the jurisdiction to impose fines to the homeowners. That's essentially how this situation is at this point. The EPA so Pippin can probably talk about the EPA, but there are fines associated with sewer spills that the district come from district-owned mains. So that's a different situation. Again, these are privately owned facilities, and like any other lateral within the district or within Half Moon Bay area, El Granada area, those are owned by the homeowner and are the homeowner's responsibility. And again, it's fines that San Mateo County Health Department can issue towards the homeowner.
So could we speak just
I
what
will
should be
answer
what,
that.
what should be happening here? Actually, well, I'm sorry, I'll wait my turn. But Nayoung, did you?
Yes, we
did you
have a plumber come out today who said there is no active leakage from our lateral. We have a paperwork on that. And then the leakage is in the middle of the street. It's not connected to our home. It's in the middle of the public road. That's where the sewer water is coming out that's affecting our 3-year-old daughter and then 5-year-old daughter here. And then they are playing in that street. So your answer to the fact that it's a private matter, has been debunked.
Now, again, all laterals in a lot of areas of California are owned and maintained by the homeowner. So this whole point of this is located in public right of way, that does not play a role. It is, again, the question, who owns the pipe? And it's the homeowner's responsibility. It's the homeowner's pipe. Again, there is many similar situations in this district. Grinder pump setups, pressurized lines, very similar to what you have. And these homeowners are maintaining their laterals as well.
But Nayoung's saying it's not coming from the lateral.
Until it's dug up, if I could take my turn, I wanted to address Andrew first and then Nayoung second. I do appreciate all your questions. My name is Pippin. I'm one of the district engineers. As Clemens points out, that the ownership of a lateral for the sewer system is in almost every jurisdiction in California, extends from the building all the way to the point of connection to the district public system, wherever that is. And you are correct, in some cases that might be down the middle of the road. As Clemens already described, in this situation, how the system was already rebuilt in the 1980s due to landslide. This particular neighborhood built a different system to handle the changing the roads changing slope, so the gravity sewers didn't work anymore. But it's impossible with the comments I've heard tonight about the plumbers that they've done a thorough inspection of the laterals, because the sewer lateral for homes that have a grinder pump has a portion which is gravity, and then at some portion distance away from the house, the sewage is collected and then is pumped through a pressure system. That is also part of the sewer lateral. In that pressure system, it's impossible to put a camera in. There's check valves. The pipes are smaller. The only way to physically inspect those pipes would be to get a permit from the county of San Mateo and dig up the street. And that's just the way how you have to access them. You can't tell by looking in a camera down from your house about the pressurized pipes. As Clemens points out, there are a number of pressurized pipes around the district, and we have had situations where they've cracked in places and people have had to dig up that place and find the crack and seal it. I apologize to the point that I had a point that Andrew had brought up, and it's been a few minutes. I forgot just a moment what it was, but to the point of EPA, I'll just restate what Clemens stated. The EPA gives jurisdiction to the California Water Board, and the California Water Board oversees the district and public facilities. The district's responsibility with private systems is that if a nuisance spill is identified, it's our responsibility to communicate with the county that there is a situation that needs to be looked at. And as Clemens pointed out, he's been working with the county, has communicated with the county that there is a situation. And so we're hoping, for the best outcome, but this is an evolving situation. I know my point for Andrew was, and others, about the process here. I think bringing this plan to the public early, this is really an evolving situation, and it wasn't ready on Monday because literally the engineers are just coming up with ideas. The water engineers, it's just hot off the press. It's just a concept plan. We're not at a project stage. We cannot install any of the proposed facilities as a district until the county San Mateo provides what we call an encroachment permit, an agreement from the county that these facilities are acceptable in the public right of way. The district doesn't have permission or carte blanche to just install facilities wherever they deem it to be the best or the most convenient or functionally what we want to do. These plans have to be approved by the county of San Mateo. These are concepts. They're going to ask us to come back with an engineered plan that's much more detailed than what you saw tonight. And then that would then be a time when maybe, we would have more public comment. But again, just to Clemens' point, we are communicating this early to try to get public input. But we can't build anything without permission from the county of San Mateo.
All right, thank you, Pippin. All right, I think that's all the hands from the public. Let's go to board discussion.
I didn't get to respond to that comment. It seems that we are one county, and it seems that we are being blamed.
Go to bed.
Yes, my kids, it's bedtime for the kids. And this is a health hazard for the kids. You all have kids. And it seems that we're all pointing fingers. Who's to blame? But we are one county and we are paying customers. We are one district. So I wanted to end my comment there. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here and sharing your concerns and asking the questions. I appreciate that. Board members, Catherine, I know you had wanted something.
Well, I've been looking up the geologic history of the site. And there was I think it was Andrew's comment about nothing in his title report. That's something you may want to take up with the county or your realtor or the title company. It's not something we do. But in 1970, there was a case, it was a takings case. And the county stopped all building permits in zone 1. There was something called the Layton report, which I'm still trying to find. And the county stopped allowing building permits out there. They were sued in zone 1. They were sued, and they decided that people could build as long as there was a geology report presented by the owner of the land, or the builder, saying that it was safe to build a house there.
Where's your mic?
So I'm sorry. So I'm going to be looking for that report from 1969-70. This has been a problem for the sewer district and the county and the landowners out there for a very long time. It's unfortunately located between, as you guys know, two major earthquake faults, the San Gregorio fault, which is on the airport side, and the Thiel Cove fault, which is in the ocean. And our engineers are trying to do, and our crew are trying to create a solution that will be a fix and maybe fixable for the long term. The problem with out there is the land is moving and so the pipes are breaking. And we have a history in our records of all the work that's been done out there since the assessment district to keep everyone in service and keep it safe. Mother Nature has decided to start moving things, and we are doing our best to try and figure out what's going on so we can make the fixes so everyone can get the service. But it's not an instantaneous fix. And we have to go through other agencies, regulatory agencies, to be able to get permission. So please get on our email list for our agendas, stay in touch, and we can give you the information we've got, but it's an ongoing project. LeGrand is now a problem when it wasn't a month ago. So again, our consultants, our geologists, our engineers are very skilled. They have worked in this area. They're not newcomers to California. Pippin has worked for this, and his firm have worked for this district for decades and decades, and also do work in other geologic hazard zones. I started to say with the Board of Supervisors lawsuit in 1970, they notified all of the title companies that that was a hazardous area. And what the title companies did with that afterwards, I don't know. And it might be interesting for those of you folks to do some research on this. And if I find the latent case, I don't know, if people want it, I'll ask Clemens to send it out to you. But it's, again, this is going to take a while to fix. And I understand your angst. And if there's sewage in the street, that's something we are going to have to fix, but it can't be fixed yesterday. And so I can't offer any advice as to what people should do in their particular situation. But we're doing everything we legally and engineeringly can do. And the whole thing about several comments about being in a larger facility, the facility has to be within our district. It can't be in Princeton, it can't be in El Granada, it can't be in Pacifica. State law says it has to be within our district. So we've looked at every single larger facility. I have just asked Clemens for a fire district capacity rating on this room, so you guys can understand that, and also to get an engineer's report talking about the amount of weight that can be in here. These are serious issues. And this building is 80 years old?
1919, so.
Okay, 106 years old. So it's not as sturdy as some of the new engineering, and we are working on bringing it up to standards. But that's, again, something that takes time. And before this this catastrophe in Seal Cove, we never had anybody visiting except maybe the camera crew and one or two other people. And so, and I will also note that I did note when I walked in here that the screen was working in the hallway. And I would suggest that if it's not, we can always pause the meeting and get it working again. Thank you.
All right. Other board members? So I understand what we need to do is, staff is recommending that we, let's see. Right, the bookmark here. The recommendation is that we move approval determining that the emergency condition still exists and warrants continuing the suspension of competitive bidding and authorizing the expenditures of funds therefore. Can I have that motion, please?
I'll move.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's 4 ayes and motion passes 4-0. Okay, let's pause briefly to bring Sid back in before we move on to the next item.
Want to know if there's anything else on the agenda that we should stay for. You showing the agenda it was about.
Well, while Sid's coming back in, I understand there was a request for what else is on the agenda. I'll just read ahead. We've got 3 more items after this, plus our typical reports. So one's on the fire danger on Caltrans Montara bypass lands. Another is about possibly establishing banking relationship with Tri-Counties Bank. And then the 4th item, there's going to be a change in Recology's route, and that will change pickup days for some people in the community. And we've got a map of stuff. And the agenda itself is on the website, MWSD.montara.org. And you can get the full packet, which has all of the staff report information in it, including, I think that one includes the route map for the change. So welcome you to stay. Hope you do. But if you want to read ahead, that's all also there.
Can I ask Pippin a technical question, please?
Not on the last agenda items.
It's not about the last agenda items, it's about grinder pumps specifically. How do don't they all have alarms when they fail?
Pippin, do you want to give us a quick one on that?
They usually have an overflow alarm if they overfill, but there's many ways a pump could fail, or the pipe coming in or going out could fail that is not covered under an alarm.
Thank you. I did look on AI to see if there's anything called a shared private lateral, and there's nothing.
I'm sorry, that's on the last agenda item, and that's going to be out of bounds.
But it's not listed.
That's going to be out of bounds.
All right.
New business item 2, review and possible action to address fire danger on Caltrans Montara bypass lands.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So that's now back in February. We were directed to send a letter to Caltrans, and that was in regards to the very active fire danger that is present on the Caltrans right-of-way. This property extends to both Montara and Moss Beach, and was originally eminent domain from private properties for the purpose of building a road through town, essentially a highway connecting the coast side with the Central Bay area. And instead, the tunnel was built and the tunnel solution was implemented. And we now have this empty property in back of Montara. And since then, this has really overgrown. There's mainly eucalyptus trees, but other flammable trees out there as well. And it's very densely overgrown and completely unmaintained. Caltrans did come out 2 years ago and took care of a section of the Caltrans right-of-way. I'm going to say they cleared a portion. I'm not sure how effective this was, but I understand this is already growing back again. The Red Alert Montara and Moss Beach was formed recently to address this as well. And they have trying to get a response from Caltrans as well to provide them with the protection that they deserve. And I'm going to say this is really something that affects the entire district. This is going through town. The entire district can burn down very easily through this fire danger that surrounds us. And a big portion really is the Caltrans right of way. We have a history of looking at this property to acquire it from Caltrans. We're hoping to work with the relevant agencies to get this property cleared and then take ownership and continue to maintain it. Again, we've sent this letter to Caltrans, haven't gotten even a response. I want to also point out that we have Larry DeYoung here tonight who can comment and report a little bit about Red Alert, Montara, and Moss Beach, Moss Beach's activities. He's been really instrumental in driving this effort to get this property cleared. So our recommendation is to discuss and receive public input and direct us as needed. With that, going back to the board.
Okay. I'm guessing, kind of hoping that, where are you? Oh, I see Greg. Let's start with Greg. Is Larry still?
I'm here.
Ah, okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to
Do
read.
Larry first, please. Do Larry first.
Yeah, Larry, I'm really hoping you have something to say, Larry.
Well,
you want...
you know me, you know I always have something to say.
Good.
Good. So we did contact Caltrans in February. They did respond in March saying that they were going to come up with a plan to implement fire mitigation in the right of way. They told us they had a walkthrough with it. I'm just trying to give you facts now, not my opinion. They told us they were had a walkthrough with a Cal Fire Marshal. We were unable to find out what Cal Fire Marshal had a walkthrough with. We had contacted both the Coastside Fire Protection District and Chief Rich Sampson, who is the Chief of Forestry for the CZU district, and none of them knew about this walkthrough. Subsequent to that, we asked for the Caltrans to reveal the name of who this person was. Subsequent to that, Caltrans told us that they were hiring a landscape contractor to clear the brush and debris in the row, and then they would be formulating a plan around mitigation of the large trees. Now, they gave us varying timelines and varying critical paths to this, so it was all kind of very difficult to understand. Most recently, in April, I was on the phone with them, and they told me that, in fact, the landscape contractors were on the ground as we were speaking. And I asked them where that they were, and they said they would have to get back to me on that. It took them almost a week to get back to me on that. And the answer was in the vicinity of Sunshine Valley Road and Cedar Street, which doesn't actually have a intersection within the row. And so we asked them again to provide a more specific area. And then they said in the vicinity of Cedar Street and Linda Vista. None of the people in RAM have reported seeing anything being done there. But we have now come to find out via Rich Sampson, the CZU forestry chief, that in fact Caltrans and the fire marshal came from Sacramento, not from the local CZU district. They are only looking at the 4 properties that they currently lease out privately on the road. They have no intention of clearing the entire, I should say clearing, of bringing the entire row up to what a good fire standard should be. Right now, it's a very high fire severity area, as is, in fact, all of Montara to the ocean. So as Clemens said, should that light up, it's going to light up a lot of homes and potentially entire coastside if you look at how this is situated. So right now we're dealing in a situation where Caltrans is being, now I'm offering an opinion, they're being recalcitrant. They certainly haven't been forthcoming or transparent. And we need to get more political pressure on them. And I'm hoping, and oh, by the way, the other thing is that I'm a scientist. And what they've been throwing at us so far is these kind of innuendos that there's San Francisco garter snakes, there's red-legged tree frogs, there's endangered habitat. And I said, that's all well fine. Just tell us where the heck it is and tell us how much you think you cannot cover. So they're not providing data and facts that most scientists kind of rely on. So we're asking you guys to put some pressure on Assemblyman Berman and Senator Becker at the state level to pressure the state agency Caltrans to do their duty. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Larry. Let's go to Greg. I bet he's got a question.
He's probably got an answer.
I don't have a question. I just want to augment a couple things Larry said. When he says row, he means right of way, the Caltrans right of way. That's the terminology he's using. I had a meeting with another member of RAM with Mark Berman, and he was very receptive to our concerns, said he needed to pull together a meeting with Becker and Mueller and so forth. Nothing has happened yet. I know that the district, Montara Water and Sanitary District, has written Caltrans. I think the extra step we would ask is that you also write Becker and Berman, and we'd be happy to give you our fact sheet and verbiage we've used in the past, just to sort of close the loop. We know that Supervisor Mueller is sensitive to this issue, supportive. You have his letter. But I think we have to go the extra step to ask you to also write Berman and Becker. Is that, Larry, am I done there?
I think that's correct. And I think also pressure on the Board of Supervisors. Ray Mueller has been a friend of ours in this, but we would like to see the Board of Supervisors pass a resolution directing Caltrans to clear the 100-acre right-of-way. So I would ask that we go state and county on this.
So yeah, I'll get to each of you. Just a point of information. We see the letter that I went out under my signature went to Senator Becker and Assemblymember Mullen. So Berman, we could get in there. It also went to the county Board of Supervisors, each individually. I'm totally open to a follow-up. Let's go to Catherine and then Sid.
Larry, I have had conversations with Supervisor Mueller. He said he is going to be we'll get a resolution on the Board of Supervisors agenda regarding this. I sent him the documentation, as did Clemens. So they've received it from several different people and several different emailings. And is going to well, you guys have gotten some letters as well that I have seen. So it looks like we're making some progress. I met coincidentally with a biologist from Caltrans at a separate meeting on the coast last week. And he was wondering about the details on this. Caltrans being the, I think, 17th largest economy in the world. There's a lot of employees. I made the 17th number up, by the way. It's totally sarcastic. But that said, I am sending him more information, and he asked if we would be interested in having it as a mitigation area that Caltrans could use. And I said, as long as Montara Water and Sanitary District and the community own it, I think Caltrans will help pay to protect this wildlife mitigation area with keeping the underbrush down and the trees limbed up. that we should talk. So I'm expecting to hear from him in a little while.
I would just say a couple of things here. One is, as hearing the earlier agenda item, it would seem you guys aren't going to be exactly swimming in money. So I would really hope that you insist before any transfer of property that Caltrans does do the mitigation. The other thing I would ask is that it could only help Ray Mueller if he wants to get a resolution from the supervisors to have a resolution from you guys saying that you are very concerned about your infrastructure, which you are, and that you would like to see the county also help get Caltrans to do what they need to do.
That's good. Yes, Sid.
Okay, first of all, I think it's great to reach out to the state representatives, but I think we should reach out to Governor Newsom, because he has more clout with Caltrans than any of us. And let him know people in our district, including, I believe, Greg Diegas, is losing their fire insurance in Montara and Moss Beach. Also, there's I attended the Coastside Fire Protection District meeting, I think it was a week ago, and they were discussing trying to buy a water tender. And I said, well, why don't you try to get Caltrans to pay for it, since there's no sign of them trying to clear the right of way. It's a tinderbox. And I don't know, but that might be something we should discuss with them, the fire districts, to try to put a little more pressure on Caltrans to give us that right of way, or take control and clear the brush, the excessive brush from that right of way. So that's it. I think a water tender would be good for our district.
Okay.
If people know what that is, I don't know.
Peter?
We sent a letter on March the 4th to the California Department of Transportation, to Mr. Weaver and Miss L. Tawanzi. Did you ever get a response?
No.
It is a brilliant letter, but
Well, I was happy to put my signature on it. I may have influenced it a little bit, but staff does really good work preparing this. Credit where credit's due is what I'm saying. I do think it did a good job of capturing the sentiment of the board and our concerns. Peter, are you? I'm guessing you have in mind, maybe we should do a follow-up on that?
Yes, I would think so. After all, we're already in May. And this letter is March the 4th. It's not proper
2 months.
to not get a response.
Right.
And we should say so.
It's normal. But
Yeah.
not problem.
I like your wording. I'm taking notes. Clements?
So I think this is a great idea with a follow-up letter. I also think the board should look at addressing the higher-ups, I'm gonna call them. If this is, as Sid suggests, the governor directly. I think if we go to the governor, this should be a coordinated approach with supervisors.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that is, too early. But just raising our concern about the situation and non-responsiveness to Becker and Berman may be, I think, also something that we should consider.
Yeah. Do we know who the head of the State Transportation Committee is? That in terms of taking it up the chain, that's the person that we want. I think in terms of,
I think we can find out.
yeah. So I would start there, and then, perhaps copy in somebody in the governor's office as an FYI, but in terms of getting Caltrans to be responsive, we have a lot of experience with former head of that committee.
Right.
And when when Judge Kopp insisted on answers, Caltrans gave answers. So I think we've seen the pattern of how that can work. I do like the idea of coordinating with Ray and the board if we can get that timing right, but we may want to send off a letter just to keep things warm and bring some heat with a coordinated effort with the supervisors. If they're going to pass a resolution, but that's going to take some time. I don't want to sit on this. Bill?
Is interacting with supervisors something best done in person, or is it enough for us to just lob letters out?
I think we can get in person with Ray easily enough. And if it sounds like you're saying that Ray
I
is,
just had quite a conversation
Well,
with him that.
I talked with him, but I haven't even met any of the other ones. And
yeah.
I know how impressed I am when people like Virginia actually show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too many in this room now.
Well, let's see. You're suggesting that Ray was suggesting about carrying a resolution from the board?
He told me he would.
Okay, so perhaps.
I'll follow up with him.
Okay, so you'll touch base and see if there's a timeline on that?
Yep.
Okay. I was thinking we might want to do a resolution, although I think our letter carries very much the same kind of weight, because we're speaking with one voice. I'd like to get something out and not have to wait until the next meeting, if we can turn something around quickly.
Okay.
There's nothing to stop you from doing both.
Yes.
What about asking Quentin Kopp to send a letter?
We'll have to see if.
He's helped us in the past.
Hmm?
He has helped us in the past.
He's helped us in the past. He's quite on in years, so I'm not sure, but. It's not a bad idea. If he's up for it, then
I think he's about the same age as Willie Nelson.
Which is
90 something. Past now.
well, let's reach out and see what's possible.
Yes.
Because he has done mighty things for this district before, so.
Well, we had him involved in the past.
Yeah. We've worked with them on this. We've worked with them on the right-of-way issue. The fire concern is kind of an extra dimension, but he's very much in favor of that being well managed and not left to just grow unabated into the hazard that it's become. I don't think we'd have any alignment problem there.
Okay, so I'm hearing directions for a letter as a follow-up to Caltrans, and that is the higher ups at Caltrans. As well as letter to Becker and Berman, a letter of concern about Caltrans's non-responsiveness and getting the community in this situation and continuing to endanger this community.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means then also that at one point we'll have a follow-up meeting reporting back. At one point.
Okay. Very good. Well, Larry and Greg, thank you for continuing to carry the banner.
Thank you.
I see Sabrina, is this a comment on this item or the next item? Sabrina, I see your hand. Is that a comment for the?
It's a comment on this item.
Okay, please go ahead.
So what I'm hearing on this item is the board working with the community and working with staff related to something happening in Montara and wanting to bring in state and local representatives to try to address the situation. Meanwhile, you're talking about notification that recently went out to homeowners that you're going to essentially abandon service. And also you've already denied service and you currently have a moratorium on service. Why are you not taking the same approach to these problems? Thank you.
Okay, I think that's a misrepresentation of where things really stand on the ground. Let me note though that the right of way extends on through Moss Beach. So this is not an us versus them kind of thing at all. And I'll also mention that the community has done some getting organized, and Larry in particular has been a real driver at lighting a fire under the officials, including us. So I think what you're seeing is people in the community showing concern and us meeting and finding ways where we can work together. But there have been a number of things where what Larry and the organization have wanted to do fall outside the purview of this agency, but we have found areas where we can work together, and that's what we're doing. So
Well, you
thank you.
haven't done that in Seal Cove. So I just want to note that for the record, that that has not happened. There has not been the type of public outreach and effort to work with the community that has gone on in Montara. And I just want to make that point. And I don't want you to gaslight me or undermine the point or try to bully like you did to Sid. I just want to make my point and not hear any smart ass comments out of you, Scott. Thank you.
Could I make a clarifying comment here?
Sure, Greg.
So Larry and several others of us formed a steering committee. We have over 100 members. We've held organizing meetings at Hop Dogma. We even got our own logo and letterhead. We've worked on this for several months. So we are, not a tax-based organization that collects fees, 501c, whatever they are. But we're a sizable community group, and we've been around for 2 months doing this, at least. Maybe it's 4, Larry, you can correct me. So I just wanted to point out, we have been an organized factor in trying to drive this.
Thank you, Greg. I'll mention too, look, the situation in Seal Cove is not only an emergency, but it's also emergent, and it's changing day by day. And our team here, our staff has been working very hard just to stay on top of the conditions as they change. At the same time, checking back in with the board and the public periodically. And so this is the way a lot of emergency
You're
situations
abandoning
are.
the community and denying
Excuse me,
service.
I'm sorry, you don't have the floor. We're trying to stay in touch, and it sounds like we've got an opportunity to do more with some of our communications. Tonight, we know that a few people learned that they can get notifications about these meetings. It's a small thing, but there are things that we can do, and we'll continue to look for ways to keep the community informed. I saw a hand.
You sound like that.
Well, I saw a hand on the screen, but Catherine?
For the record, the previous speaker was speaking of her own opinion. She may have talked to a few others, but this is an opinion, and it needs to be regarded as such. Thank you.
Let's
Catherine, your opinion is your opinion as well, and it should be regarded as such.
Thank you.
all right. We are now. Okay, Clemens, I think that was what we had for that item. If so, let's go to the next item. Review and possible action concerning establishment of banking relationship with Tri-Counties Bank.
Thank you, Scott. So I want to thank Peter Medina here for helping to prepare this agenda item. We've seen some I'm going to say we were rather unhappy with our current bank through a number of issues in the past years, and we're currently with Wells Fargo, and I think I would have liked to see a different level of service. And additionally, I think there are some cost savings if we are looking to start a new relationship with a second bank. So what I'm saying is that we will try to operate right now with 2 banks, transition slowly towards Tri-County. And there is a number of advantages that this bank provides. First of all, we have local branches. We have a lot of public agency experience. We are very certain that there is compliance with government regulations. There is a very sufficient backing of actually the securities are very sufficient of backing our funds. We will see an increased fraud protection. And so just a number of advantages. The sewer authority mid-coast side is also with Tri-County. So we're looking to start a relationship with them. We're not just, jumping from one to the other. This is going to be a slow transition. But we've looked at this thoroughly. And I mean, Peter, when I say this, he's done really the legwork in looking and approaching various banks and trying to find the best one for us. And so the recommendation here is to approve Tri-County's bank as banking partner and work with the general manager to sign and implement banking relationships. I do want to mention that I asked for a change to the attached resolution. My name is missing as authorized signer, so I asked for this to be added. And yeah, just letting you guys know that there is a change to this resolution, adding my name to the list of signers. Thank you.
Okay.
And Peter is here for any questions.
All right. Do we have any questions? Catherine?
I want to say I have worked with First National and it got bought out by Tri-Counties. And they have been, both the Half Moon Bay and the Pacifica office have been a pleasure to work with. They have been particularly helpful in helping me to sort out the accounts, the business accounts and personal accounts due to Ed, that needed sorting due to Ed's death. I find them very, very friendly and available to answer questions and explain things. So I highly recommend Tri-County. I also have a relationship with Wells Fargo, so and I like having both banks.
Any further comments? Sid?
I dropped Wells Fargo. This after Kathy White left, their service went way downhill. And they charge excess fees that they can never, every time I ask for an explanation, I get a different explanation. And I also, when I was president of Light Up the Sky for the July Fireworks Committee, we used First National and they had excellent service. So I would recommend doing this. Thank you.
That's a bit of a tongue twister on that.
I know it was
Yeah.
for me. Tired.
All right. Well, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So
I second.
Okay, so Catherine and Peter, this is a resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up, review announcement of Recology change in route.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So Recology gives us the early heads up that there will be changes to the collections, to solid waste collections in Montara, but particularly in Moss Beach. And so that the reason for that is they looked at routing efficiencies as well as reducing, the collection footprint within MWSD. And of course, Recology also serves the El Granada area. So certainly they involve this, they look at this jointly. So this means that there will be service days that are changing for approximately 550 of our accounts. The majority of those are in the, I'm going to call them the Upper Moss Beach section. And so that means that the collection that they receive currently on Friday would switch to Monday. So the changes are, first of all, Recology is going to announce it at next door. I think we should, of course, do the same. They also will post this on their website. I think we also should do the same and post this on our website. Additionally, there is a direct notification that Recology plans for the customers. I was informed that they prefer to start with the direct notification on May 12th. Originally thought was on the 19th, but so they are stating that they would like to go a week earlier. So either it's a notification on May 12th, with then the new collection beginning the week of May 26th, or a notification on May 19th with the collection beginning of the week June 1st. So once we know this and have this squared away, I think we can, properly address this on our websites. But I think the idea is to really do this on the 12th, start with a notification, and then make the switches the week of May 26th. And the way of notification is essentially a large colorful letter notification sticker on the actual whim that nobody can miss. So this is really the information that we got from Recology. We've attached the maps that show the changes. And I believe we have actually Ryan still here with Recology if there should be any questions the board has.
Hi, Ryan. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, just real quick. So I know, we were kind of going back and forth on some dates. So after further discussion, we believe the best course is to do the tags the week of the 19th through the 23rd, with implementation the week of June 1st. Reason is Memorial Day is May 26th, Monday, which is a holiday, which I think holidays create some confusion with garbage pickup as it is. So we figured let's get through the Memorial Day holiday before we make those changes. So the plan is to tag the carts the week of May 19th and implement the week of June 1st.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions, comments? Anyone?
No, I just hope, hearing what I heard in our first agenda item, that we find a way to make sure this is in on the Coastside News, as well as Coast Cider, as well as the post offices and
You mean Coastside Buzz, yes.
I'm sorry, Coastside Buzz. I'm talking in the past there, Coastside Buzz, and also to I don't know, maybe you could send out a postcard, Recology could send out a postcard to every customer. Something that I know this has been done in the past, but this is going to upset quite a few people if they don't hear about it. And they're going to be calling us, and they're also going to be calling Recology and ask for a special truck to be brought out or something. So I think the more notification you can make, the better it is. And again, I think a postcard is not an expense, it's not inexpensive, but compared to the grief that we will get, Recology mostly, I think it's a worthwhile expenditure, and it's very important for perceived transparency and quality service. Thank you.
I see Dennis Broderick's hand. Dennis? I see your hand, but it looks like you're on mute. Let me interject, Dennis, if you can get off mute, then we'll hear your comment. In the meantime, I just wanted to mention what comes to mind for me, that I love the idea of the notices on the cans. I think that's great. The idea of maybe sandwich boards in the neighborhood that's affected.
I think this could be confusing to the folks that are not affected. I want to caution you.
Yeah, no, it's an idea. it's so not all ideas are great, but I'm putting it out there. Dennis, looks like you're off.
One.
Go ahead. Yeah.
How about email? about that email list we were talking? Customer email lists. And they could be categorized by the folks that are affected and the folks that aren't. And so you wouldn't have to wait till the day before. You could do it a week before. You could remind them a day before. You could remind them 10 days before. It's so easy. I don't understand why the reluctance. Thank you.
All right,
We don't
thank
have
you.
a database for it. do we?
Can we just take that going, or go ahead?
No, I'd like to say that Dennis is right. The more different ways you notify people, having been in advertising for a while, the more likely they are to pay attention to it and reach a level of understanding that it affects them. That's why we hear the same ad over and over and over again on our chosen media. But and the reason we hear those ads over and over is because repetition does work. So I think as many different ways as we can get it out would be good. And I would suggest large maps, or even the kind of link that we could send people to where they could put in their address, and the day of their pickup would, their new day would come up. We do that here for our election districts, and I doubt if it's that big a problem. And frankly, if you just kept that up and running, it would make it easier for newcomers or visitors or anybody else. It would be an added service. Thank you.
All right.
Comments?
That's it, yes.
Just for, because my neighborhood it looked, when I saw the map, the Seal Cove is not affected by this change. It's our pickup day is still Tuesdays, is that right? Tuesday morning?
I don't know what your pickup day is, but
Well,
looking
I
at the
looked-
same map, and there, it's far away from Seal Cove, so Seal Cove is not affected.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. We have a few more things to do. Reports, Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side. I'm happy to report that we passed both budgets. No surprise, Half Moon Bay wanted to chime in with lots of protest language, but we've heard it all before. That was the, what I recall, is the most memorable item. We had also the RCD, the Resource Conservation District, came and presented on the first flush program, and it was very interesting, a terrific presentation. They now have been doing this for roughly 25 years up and down the coast. And I remember when they started, they came to Sam to ask for, I think, $150 or something like that to help pay for materials for this volunteer effort largely. And I think they were covering 2 or 3 creeks, and now they're covering creeks from here all the way down to, I think, Pescadero.
And didn't Sam give them lab stays?
Well, that's the Surf Rider, and
Oh,
they
that was the
and
Surf Rider,
they
yeah.
collaborate. I actually saw someone from the Surf Rider water monitoring program today, out by the creek in Lindemar. But that was really good, and that was there were a lot of very interesting questions. There were interesting. It was a very detailed comparison about last year compared to, or 2 years ago compared to the most recent sampling, which is taken on the first rain of the water season, which is usually in the fall, September, October, something like that, because that's when creeks flush out and you get it's kind of gives you an idea of the health of the creek. And it was really interesting to see some of the variation. A creek one year might have some metals or a lot of turbidity, and the next year no. And then some creeks have orthophosphates, and some creek have bacteria or virus or interesting stuff. A lot of data, but
Include these creeks?
all of these creeks. And their information's on the web. So the Resource Conservation District, it's a lot of information. And for curious minds like ours, it's not enough information. So, but it's great that they're collecting it, because they now have kind of this longitudinal 25 years of data with periodic ability to get in there and do some interesting analysis. Like they've done some DNA analysis, and what Kellex Nelson, the director, in answer to a question, was saying, well, It's really interesting because it's really hard to nail down anything despite the fact that you think you might be able to. It kind of raises more questions than answers. But it's good information to have. It does direct lines of inquiry, and it does get them in action. When they spot something concerning, they can go upstream and talk to the people upstream where that they might be able to make a difference. So they're keeping a careful eye on something that people come here to enjoy. The people who live here count on being, the water's being healthy, and RCD's on the job, and they're making sure they're always looking for volunteers to help with the first flush as well. So if that sounds fun, it sounds fun.
You get up in the middle of the night.
That's true. Oh, wow.
And then you go stand around in the water. And I mean, who doesn't love that?
How kind of west?
Everybody I know who's done it has raved about what a great experience it was. So
Well, and also we had a finance committee meeting at SAM today. We looked at the third quarter financials. You would have been pleased, both with the way they are formatted and the explanations that you have helped them understand. Like a copy, I'd be happy to drop one by for you if you have nothing else to do, but I know you're pretty busy. It was over in half an hour. And I think this is,
It's good news, and especially that the budget was approved, because I heard there was another recent break in the force main.
yes, and I was going to mention that it's
Yeah.
only 550 gallons. It was fixed within a couple hours. It was a Cat 3, which is the lowest, smallest spill that can happen. So there was no raw sewage flooding anywhere in the area.
it was all contained, did not make it to waterways.
Yes. And then Midcoast Community Council, where to put my notes. I'm gonna lose things so quickly. The big deal at the last meeting, other than announcing our loss of Lisa, is that the stormwater report that was worked on so hard by Greg Diegas when he was on the council and others. And it's a very, very good report, something that has, again, that has been needed to be done, and it was done by our own community. I think the county will probably not want to receive this into its records because it's not particularly complimentary. And one of, so there's that, and then they had about flexibility in meeting attendance, AB 259 that they sent a letter on. Other than that, that's about the news for the most recent MCC meeting. Again, you can go to the MCC website and you can look up this stormwater report. It's well worth reading. It's well worth being aware of. It's because stormwater, as we get more buildings and less permeable surfaces due to roofs and houses and driveways and things, we're going to be getting more runoff. And so we need to be aware of what we can expect. There's nothing for CSDA, there's nothing for LAFCO.
Okay.
That's my report.
Thank you. Christine, anything attorney's report? No?
No attorney's report.
Okay, any director's report? Sid?
Yes, I did mention that I went to the Coastside Fire Protective District meeting, and they are talking about buying a water tender. I think if we could, Clemens, maybe get in touch with them and see if we could ask South Sampson to put a little pressure on Caltrans and maybe suggest that they pay for the water tender, since they're not going to clear the right. I haven't been very proactive about clearing the right of way. But also I attended a LAFCO meeting at Ray Mueller's office, and the Harbor District is now under their municipal services review. They'll be needing to provide Zoom comments, which were not allowed for the last several months.
If I might add that we adopted that.
Yes,
at the last
after
meeting.
the LAFCO meeting, they did adopt it. still have daytime meetings, but it's helpful for people that can't attend a meeting in person to be able to call in on Zoom and make their comments, their public comments. So that has been taken care of. And last of all, I'm wondering if there's, Michelle hasn't mentioned anything, if she's still on Dragony about whether or not they finalized the situation for Lisa, but I don't think Lisa really wanted a big hoo-ha about her passing, but a lot of the people in the community did want to put on something for her, and I think the MCC might have decided to do it, but I know Michelle had called me and asked if I would help, so I don't know, I haven't had much time to get back to her after my car accident, so that's up in the air whether we're gonna have it on the 31st, but Ray did offer his office as a venue because people from Pillar Ridge could go to it. Thank you, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything to add for your general manager report?
No, nothing to add. Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to end the public session. We're going to take a recess. We're going to thank PCT for being here and doing a great job of getting video out to the community. This will be online, and tell your friends. And we're gonna resume a closed session with two matters. One, conference with legal counsel on existing litigation in the Half Moon Bay lawsuit, and the other, conference with real property negotiators for the Caltrans Montara right-of-way with our agency negotiator, who is our general manager and our district counsel. With that, we are in recess. Thank you all for being here.